Orange embers dance against a smoke-choked sky. A woman's labored breathing cuts through the chaos. Push, Nia. You have to push. The voice belongs to Adrian Locke, billionaire, betrayer, and the last man on earth she ever wanted to see again. His hands, which once signed away her dreams on divorce papers, now tremble as they prepare to catch her child. Don't, she gasped between contractions. Don't you dare act like you care. But here's the thing about fire. It doesn't care about your unfinished business. It doesn't wait for apologies or explanations. And neither does a baby crowning in the back seat of an abandoned SUV while Sacramento burns around them. This is the moment everything changes. But to understand how we got here, how a woman betrayed by the man she built an empire with ended up trusting him with the most vulnerable moment of her life, we need to go back to a freezing computer lab at Georgia Tech. Back to two ambitious dreamers with $9,000 in a world to conquer. Back to when Nia Carter thought love and loyalty were the same thing. 6 years ago, Nia was 29 and brilliant in the way that exhausted people are brilliant, sharp from necessity, focused from survival. She worked 2 jobs while finishing her master's in machine learning, carrying student loans like stones in her pockets. The night she met Adrian Locke, she thought he was breaking into the lab. It was 2:17 a.m. He was hunched over a terminal, hoodie up, typing like the keyboard owed him money. She demanded ID. He spun around with both hands raised, looking more like a startled graduate student than a future billionaire. Turned out he was an alum running one last test on a fraud detection model before campus security kicked him out. She nearly threw him out herself. Instead, she sat down beside him. They argued over data sets like two people who'd known each other forever. By sunrise, they were eating vending machine Cheez-Its and laughing about how campus coffee tasted like regret. Adrian had $9,000 left in his bank account and half a dream. She liked his humility. He liked her fire. A year later, they married in a tiny Decatur courthouse, promising to build a future with nothing but 2 laptops and ambition today. Adrian Locke is worth $4.1 billion. His company, Locke Shield, is the gold standard in cybersecurity. Forbes calls him the next visionary. Tech blogs worship him, and Nia? Nia doesn't exist in his story anymore. He erased her like bad code, quietly, efficiently, without remorse. Scrubbed her from patent filings, removed her from the founder narrative. When she discovered the betrayal and confronted him, he chose the company over her, over them, over everything they'd built together. She walked away while he was on a business trip, packed her things, left her ring on the kitchen counter, and disappeared into a new life. She never told him she was pregnant. Why would she? He'd already made his choice clear. Locke Shield mattered. She didn't. But here's what Adrian doesn't know. Nia isn't the type to disappear quietly. She's the type to back up data the night before she walks away. The type to prepare for war while everyone thinks she's retreating. And now, 2 years later, as smoke fills the California sky and her body prepares to bring new life into the world, she's about to remind Adrian Locke exactly who built his empire. Because the next part of this story, that part belongs entirely to her. If you enjoy hearing real stories of betrayal, revenge, and redemption, please take a second to subscribe. It helps us keep telling them. Now let's get back to Sacramento, where everything is about to burn. Nia Carter, now going by Nia Morrison professionally, lives in a modest 2-bedroom apartment in East Sacramento. She's 35 now, though some days she feels ancient, and others like she's just beginning. The place is clean but unremarkable. No billionaire marble countertops, no smart home systems, just IKEA furniture, a powerful laptop, and a growing belly that makes getting out of bed feel like a competitive sport. She consults remotely for mid-sized companies, fixing their security vulnerabilities under a different last name. The work pays well enough. More importantly, it's invisible. No press, no spotlight, no risk of Adrian's legal team finding reasons to come after her. On the surface, she's moved on. Beneath it, she's been building something else entirely. Her laptop holds 3 years of encrypted files, communications, code repositories, patent applications with timestamps proving her authorship. She's cataloged every lie, every stolen credit, every board meeting where Adrian claims sole genius. She hasn't decided what to do with it yet, Revenge isn't the goal. Justice is. But justice takes time. And right now, time is running out. Her due date is in 4 days. Her birth plan is meticulous. A private birthing center with a midwife she trusts, soft lighting, a playlist she spent weeks curating. Control. She needs control over this one thing at least. The universe has other plans. Meanwhile, 380 miles north in San Francisco, Adrian Locke sits in a glass-walled conference room that overlooks the bay. His office is a temple to success. Awards on the walls, a view that costs more per square foot than most people's annual salaries, and a complete absence of photographs. No wedding pictures, no personal memories. Just logos, press clippings, and a Forbes cover with his face on it. He's 37 now, though the gray at his temples makes him look older. Success ages you differently than struggle. It hollows you out from the inside. He's in the middle of final prep for a cybersecurity summit in Sacramento. The irony isn't lost on him. Sacramento is where Nia grew up, where her mother was buried, where she always said she'd return someday. He doesn't know she actually did. He stopped trying to find out the moment she left, or at least that's what he tells himself. His assistant, Priya, knocks, "Your flight to Sacramento leaves in 2 hours. The summit starts tomorrow morning. Also, your mother called again." Adrian doesn't look up from his tablet. "Tell her I'm busy." "I did. She said to remind you that busy men still have hearts." He taps the screen harder than necessary. "Anything else?" Priya hesitates. She's worked for Adrian long enough to know when to push and when to retreat. This is a retreat moment. "No, sir. Safe travels." When she leaves, Adrian leans back in his chair and stares at the ceiling. The truth is, he thinks about Nia more than he should. Little things trigger it. Someone eating Cheez-Its in a meeting, a certain shade of lipstick, the anniversary of their courthouse wedding that he pretends to forget every year. He tells himself he did what he had to do, that the board's pressure was real, that keeping sole founder status was a strategic necessity in a competitive market. But late at night, when the city lights blur through his penthouse windows, he knows the truth. He was a coward. He chose credit over partnership, glory over integrity. And when she confronted him, he doubled down instead of coming clean. The day she left, he was in New York closing a deal. He came home to an empty apartment and a simple note. "You got what you wanted. I hope it keeps you warm." He hired a private investigator once, about 6 months after she disappeared. The investigator found nothing. No social media, no new job postings, no digital footprint. Nia had become a ghost. Adrian told himself it was for the best, that clean breaks heal faster, that she'd moved on and he should too. He never admitted, not even to himself, that he'd been hoping she'd come back, that she'd fight for what they'd built, that she'd prove she loved him more than he'd hurt her. She didn't come back, and that told him everything he needed to know. Back in Sacramento, Nia stands in her small kitchen, hand on her lower back, staring at a wildfire alert on her phone. The air outside has a yellow tint. Ash floats past her window like diseased snow. Evacuation warning for East Sacramento and surrounding areas. Be prepared to leave within 2 hours. Fire approaching from northeast. Highways 50 and 80 experiencing severe delays. Her hospital bag is already packed. Her car has a full tank. But the wildfire is spreading faster than predicted, and the routes to her birthing center are clogging with traffic. She tries calling the midwife, no answer. Likely overwhelmed with other patients or already evacuated. She tries her neighbor, an older woman named Patricia, who promised to drive her if needed. The call goes to voicemail. For the first time in 2 years, Nia feels a flicker of the thing she's worked so hard to eliminate. Fear. Not fear of the fire. Fear of being alone when it matters most. She places both hands on her belly and whispers, "It's okay. We've been through worse. We'll figure this out." A contraction hits, sharp, early, wrong. She grips the counter and breathes through it. False labor, probably. Braxton Hicks. Has to be. She's not due for 4 more days, except her body doesn't care about schedules. Another contraction, stronger this time. She checks her watch. 8 minutes apart. "No," she says aloud as if her body might listen. "Not now. Not like this." But her daughter, and yes, she knows it's a girl, paid for the ultrasound with money she made, debugging a hospital's security system. Has other plans. Nia grabs her bag, her phone, and her keys. The air outside smells like burning pine and apocalypse. Sirens wail in the distance. She gets into her car and pulls onto a street already jammed with evacuating families. Her GPS reroutes 3 times. Every path to the birthing center is blocked or dangerously close to the fire line. Hospitals are overwhelmed. The news is reporting 4-hour wait times in emergency rooms filled with smoke inhalation victims. She's alone, pregnant, in a wildfire, and the contractions are now 6 minutes apart. The highway turns into a parking lot of terror. People abandon cars. A man runs past carrying a bird cage. A woman screams into her phone. The sky turns the color of a fresh bruise. Nia's phone buzzes. Evacuation warning upgraded to mandatory order. She manages to maneuver onto the shoulder of Highway 50 near an abandoned commercial park. There's nowhere else to go. Traffic isn't moving. She can see the fire now. A red glow on the horizon, growing closer. She gets out of her car thinking maybe she can walk, find help, do something. That's when she hears it. Nia! The voice is impossible, a ghost from a life she buried. She turns slowly, certain she's hallucinating from pain and smoke. Adrian Locke stands 30 feet away, suit jacket gone, white shirt streaked with ash, staring at her like she's a hallucination. If you were in her position, would you accept help from someone who betrayed you in a life or death situation? Tell us in the comments. I'd love to hear your take. For a moment, neither of them speaks. The world narrows to just this. 2 people who built and destroyed each other, meeting again in fire. Around them, chaos continues. Cars honk. People shout. Ash falls like cursed snow. But Nia and Adrian are frozen in a moment that feels like fate or cosmic cruelty or both. What are you? Adrian starts, then stops. His eyes drop to her belly. His face goes white. Oh my God! Don't, Nia says, but another contraction steals her breath. She doubles over, hand on her car for support. Adrian moves without thinking, closing the distance between them. How far apart? 6 minutes, maybe 5 now. She gasps through the pain. What are you doing here? Summit at the convention center. Got evacuated when the fire jumped the containment line. I was trying to get back to the airport when traffic stopped. He looks around frantically. Where's the nearest hospital? 40 minutes away in traffic that hasn't moved in an hour. His face drains of remaining color. Nia, I know. She straightens as the contraction eases, meeting his eyes. In them, she sees shock, fear, and something else. Recognition, maybe, or regret. I didn't plan this, if that's what you're thinking. I wasn't. He stops, shakes his head. That doesn't matter right now. We need to get you somewhere safe. Safe? She laughs, bitter sharp. There is no safe. There's just less dangerous. Adrian pulls out his phone, trying to get a signal. Nothing. The fire must have taken out cell towers. He looks at the gridlocked highway, the approaching smoke, the families fleeing on foot. There, he says, pointing to a cluster of industrial buildings across the field. Commercial Park. Those look like concrete structures, away from the main fire line. We can shelter there until emergency services reach this area. And if they don't reach this area, they will! But his voice lacks conviction. Another contraction, stronger. Nia's knees buckle. Adrian catches her instinctively, one arm around her waist. Don't touch me, she says, but there's no strength behind it. Nia, please, I know you hate me. His voice cracks. I know what I did, but right now, none of that matters. You need help, and I'm here. Let me help. She looks at him, really looks at him. He's thinner than she remembers, tired. There are lines around his eyes that weren't there before. He looks like a man who's been running from something and finally got caught. Fine, she says finally, but only because I don't have a choice. I'll take it. He grabs her hospital bag from the car, then helps her walk across the field toward the buildings. The air is thick with smoke. Embers drift down like falling stars. Behind them, someone's car alarm wails. Why Sacramento? Nia asks between labored breaths. Of all the cities. The Western Cybersecurity Summit. I was keynoting tomorrow. He adjusts his grip, taking more of her weight. I didn't know you were here. I swear. Would it have mattered if you did? The question hangs between them. Adrian doesn't answer. They reach the largest building, an old warehouse with broken windows and a rusted roll-up door. Adrian forces the side entrance open. Inside it's dim and dusty but structurally sound. Concrete walls, high ceilings. Away from the worst of the smoke, he clears a space against the back wall, using his jacket to sweep away debris. The gesture is so earnest it makes Nia's chest tight with something she doesn't want to name. Here, he says, laying his jacket down. It's not much. It's fine. She lowers herself down with a grunt, back against the cold concrete. Another contraction builds immediately, harder, longer. Adrian crouches beside her, hands hovering uselessly. What can I do? Nothing, just... She gasps, gripping her knees. Just be quiet. He nods, jaw tight, and pulls out his phone. Still no signal. He has a portable battery pack in his bag, a first aid kit, bottled water, standard emergency supplies for a businessman who travels constantly. What he doesn't have is medical training, obstetric experience, or any idea how to deliver a baby. When the contraction passes, Nia leans back, exhausted. How long have you been in Sacramento? Got in this morning. Summit was supposed to start tonight with a welcome reception. He offers her water. She takes it, grateful. Fire broke out around 2 p.m. Everything shut down within an hour. Efficient disaster. California specialty. He attempts a smile. It doesn't land. Silence falls. Outside, the fire roars closer, a sound like wind and fury. Is it mine? Adrian asks quietly. Nia's eyes snap to him. Are you seriously asking me that? I'm not. I didn't mean... He runs a hand through his hair. I'm sorry, that came out wrong. I just meant... When? How? She's yours. Nia's voice is flat. I was 10 weeks pregnant when I left. Didn't know at the time. Found out 3 weeks later when I couldn't stop throwing up. Adrian does the math. His expression shifts through several emotions. Shock, guilt, pain, something that might be wonder. You were pregnant when you left, and you didn't tell me. Why would I? Her voice sharpens. You made it very clear what mattered to you. Lockshield, your reputation, your singular genius. I was just the collateral damage of your ambition. That's not... Don't. She cuts him off. Don't revise history because it's convenient now. You chose your company over everything. Over me. Over us. Over any future we might have had. So no, I didn't tell you I was pregnant. Because I knew exactly what you'd say. What would I have said? You'd have calculated the optics, considered the timing, wondered how it would affect investor confidence or board perception. You'd have treated our child like a variable in your growth strategy. Tears stream down her face, from pain, from fury, from 2 years of silence breaking open. And I couldn't let you do that to her. I couldn't let you reduce her to a line item in your acquisition plans. Adrian looks like she slapped him. Is that really what you think of me? It's what you showed me. Another contraction. Nia screams through clenched teeth. Guttural, primal. Adrian reaches for her hand. She grabs it without thinking, squeezing until her knuckles go white, and his do too. When it passes, they're both breathing hard. I need to check, Adrian says quietly. Your dilation. We need to know how close. You don't know how to. I know enough. He pulls up his phone, showing her downloaded articles, saved videos. When the evacuation started, I saw pregnant women in the crowd and I thought, what if someone needs help? So I downloaded everything I could find just in case. Nia stares at the phone screen. Medical diagrams, emergency birth instructions, videos from midwife training sites. You did that today? In the middle of an evacuation? Old habit. He manages a weak smile. Always prepare for worst-case scenarios. Funny, I'm usually your worst-case scenario. You were never that, Nia. You were always... He trails off, something breaking in his expression. You were always the best thing I ever had. Before she can respond, another contraction hits. The strongest yet. and Nia realizes with terrifying clarity her daughter is coming whether she's ready or not. The contractions are coming every 3 minutes now. Adrian washes his hands with bottled water and hand sanitizer from his emergency kit, his movements precise despite the fear in his eyes. "I need to check your dilation," he says gently. "Is that okay?" Nia nods, too exhausted to argue, too scared to refuse help. Even from him, he's quick and respectful, pulling back with a tight expression. "You're at about 7 centimeters, moving fast." "How fast?" "Maybe an hour, maybe less." He sits back, meeting her eyes. "Have you been to birthing classes? Do you know what to expect?" "I've read every book, watched every video. I was supposed to have a midwife, a birth plan, lavender oil, and a carefully curated playlist." She laughs weakly. "Instead, I get an abandoned warehouse and my ex-husband." "I'm sorry. For which part? The warehouse or the ex-husband part?" "Both. All of it." Adrian's voice cracks. "Nia, Another contraction steals whatever he was going to say. She grips his hand, nails digging in, making a sound that's half scream, half sob. "Breathe," he coaches, his other hand on her shoulder. "In through your nose, out through your mouth. You're doing so good." When it passes, Nia slumps against the wall. "Don't act like you care." "I do care." "Since when?" "Since always." He says it so quietly she almost misses it. "I never stopped. You had a funny way of showing it, erasing me from patents, scrubbing me from the founder story, letting the board pretend I never existed." Adrian winces. "I know. Do you? Do you actually know what you did?" Her voice rises. "I built that fraud detection engine from scratch. I was the one who solved the Chicago retail crisis. I deferred my salary so we could make payroll. I sold my mother's locket, the only thing I had left of her, for $4,500 so you could afford better servers. I didn't know about the locket." "Of course you didn't. You were too busy practicing your TED Talk about disruption and innovation." She's crying now, 2 years of pain flooding out. "You let them crown you the sole genius. You stood on stages and accepted awards for work I did. And when I asked you to tell the truth, you called me emotional. You said I didn't understand business. I was wrong." "Being wrong isn't enough, Adrian. Being sorry isn't enough. You didn't just hurt me, you erased me. You made me doubt my own memory. I'd watch your interviews and think, did I imagine my contribution? Was I really just the supportive wife while he did the real work?" "You gaslit me with silence." Adrian's face crumples. "God, Nia, I'm so—" "Don't." She holds up a hand. "Don't apologize like it fixes anything." "Then what do you want me to say?" "I want you to admit why you did it. The real reason." He's quiet for a long moment. Outside, sirens wail. The fire's glow is visible through the broken windows now, closer than before. "I was scared," he finally says. The board kept pushing the solo founder narrative. They said investors preferred it. Cleaner story, clearer vision, one genius instead of a team. And I told myself it was strategic, that it didn't diminish your role, just streamline the optics. Bullshit. You're right, it was bullshit. His voice hardens with self-loathing. The truth? I was jealous. Nia blinks. What? You were better than me. At the code, at the strategy, at reading people investors who met us both always came away more impressed with you. You had this way of explaining complex systems that made people feel smart instead of stupid. I just had ego and desperation. He laughs bitterly. So when the board offered me a way to be the sole visionary, I took it. Because for once I got to be the genius. For once I wasn't standing in your shadow. The honesty of it punches through Nia's anger. She's too tired to hold her guard up. You were never in my shadow. I felt like I was. And instead of dealing with that like an adult, I let them erase you. I convinced myself it was necessary, that the company needed a singular vision, a clear narrative. But really, he meets her eyes, I just needed to feel like I'd earned something on my own. Another contraction, stronger, longer, pulling a scream from somewhere deep in Nia's chest. Adrian moves closer, supporting her back, breathing with her until it passes. I backed up everything, Nia gasps when she can speak again. All the files, code repositories, patents with timestamps, every email where I solved problems you couldn't, every board meeting where you took credit for my work. Adrian nods slowly. I know. You know, I figured you would. You're too smart not to protect yourself. He helps her adjust position. Are you going to use them? I don't know yet. Some days I want to burn your empire down. Watch you lose everything like I did. You'd be justified. But other days I just want to move on. Build something new. Prove I don't need your acknowledgement to matter. You don't need it, but you deserve it. She studies his face, looking for the lie, the angle. The self-serving spin finds none. Just exhaustion and regret and something raw. What happened to you? She asks. You weren't always like this. The Adrian I married wouldn't have thrown me away for a Forbes cover. I got successful, he says simply, and success is poison when you're not ready for it. Every article calling me a genius, every investor praising my vision, every award, it fed something ugly in me, made me believe I was special, that normal rules didn't apply. Normal rules like gratitude, like integrity, like all of it. I started thinking I'd done it alone, that your contributions were, I don't know, exaggerated in my memory. The more successful I got, the easier it was to rewrite history with myself at the center. He runs a hand over his face, and by the time I realized what I'd done, you were gone, and I told myself it was too late to fix it. It was too late. I know. Nia corrects. It is too late. You don't get to have a crisis of conscience in a wildfire and expect forgiveness. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't expect anything. His voice drops. But she deserves better than a father who only shows up when forced to. So if you let me, if you give me any kind of chance at all, I'll spend the rest of my life trying to be the man I should have been. Before Nia can respond, a massive contraction hits. This one is different, deeper, more urgent. Her body is pushing whether she's ready or not. Adrian, she gasps, panic flooding her voice. Something's wrong. It's too much pressure. He checks quickly, and his eyes go wide. You're fully dilated. She's coming now. Now, but I'm not ready. Yes, you are. He positions himself, hands steady despite his pale face. You're the strongest person I know, Nia. You built a company. You survived betrayal. You've been growing a human being while rebuilding your entire life. You can do this. I'm scared. I know, so am I. He meets her eyes. But we're going to do it together, okay? She wants to tell him there is no we, that he gave up that right when he chose his ego over their partnership. But another contraction crashes through her, and she doesn't have the oxygen for anger anymore. Only survival. On the next contraction, Adrian says, voice surprisingly calm, push as hard as you can, I've got you. The contraction builds like a wave. Nia pushes, screaming through clenched teeth. Good, I can see her head. Again, push. She pushes again and again. Time becomes meaningless, just pain and breathing, and Adrian's voice cutting through the chaos. One more, Nia. One more big push. She doesn't know where the strength comes from. Maybe from fury, maybe from love, maybe from some primal place that doesn't care about betrayal or heartbreak, only about bringing life into a burning world. She pushes with everything she has left. And then, a cry. Small, angry, perfect. Do you think jealousy justifies betrayal? Or are there some lines you just don't cross? Drop your thoughts below. Adrian catches their daughter with shaking hands, tears streaming down his face. She's here. Oh my God, Nia, she's here. He wraps the baby in his shirt, cleaning her gently with bottled water, checking her airways. The baby's cry fills the warehouse, strong, furious at being born into smoke and chaos. Is she okay? Nia whispers, exhausted. She's perfect. Adrian carefully places the baby on Nia's chest, skin to skin. She's absolutely perfect. The moment their daughter touches her skin, something inside Nia breaks and rebuilds simultaneously. The baby's tiny fist grips her finger. Her eyes, barely open, search for her mother's face. Hi, Nia breathes, tears streaming. Hi, baby girl. I'm your mom. I've been waiting so long to meet you. Adrian sits back, watching them, his expression caught between awe and devastation. His hands are shaking. There's blood on his shirt, evidence of the most important thing he's ever done. What's her name? He asks softly. Nia looks up at him, even now exhausted and bleeding and covered in birth and ash. She knows exactly what to say. Grace. Her name is Grace. That's beautiful. It means undeserved gift. She holds his gaze. Seemed fitting. The barb lands, but Adrian just nods. Yes, it does. For both of us. He uses his phone's flashlight to check Nia, making sure there's no dangerous bleeding. His movements are gentle, respectful. He ties off the umbilical cord with a shoelace. Not ideal, but it works. You did amazing, he says. I've never seen anything so horrifying. Beautiful. His voice cracks. I've never seen anything so beautiful. For a moment, there's peace. Just the three of them in the dim warehouse, surrounded by chaos but creating life anyway. Then Nia notices the fire's glow through the windows. Closer now, definitely closer. Adrian, the fire. He looks up, sees it too. Shit, we need to move. I can't walk yet, I know. He's already planning, scanning the space. Give me 2 minutes. He runs outside, returns with a wheeled office chair he found in the parking lot. Not elegant, but functional. He helps Nia into it, Grace bundled against her chest in his jacket in the emergency blanket. Hold on tight, he says, and pushes her toward the exit. Outside, the world is apocalyptic. The fire has jumped containment lines. Embers rain down like hellfire. The smoke is thick enough to taste. But in the distance, sirens. Real ones getting closer. Here, Adrian shouts, waving his arms. We need help here. A fire engine appears through the smoke. Paramedics rush over, taking in the scene. New mother, newborn baby, makeshift delivery in a disaster zone. How long ago? One paramedic asks, already checking Grace's vitals. Maybe 20 minutes, Adrian says. She's breathing well, crying, strong pulse. And mom? Bleeding seems normal. No tears I could see, but I don't have medical training. The paramedic looks at him with new respect. You delivered this baby? I didn't have a choice. Well, you did good. Damn good. They stabilize Nia, wrap Grace in proper blankets, and load them both into an ambulance. Adrian climbs in without asking permission. No one stops him. The ride to the hospital is surreal. Nia drifts in and out of consciousness, exhausted beyond measure. Grace sleeps against her chest. Adrian sits across from them, phone in hand, finally getting a signal. Messages flood in, dozens of them. His assistant, his mother, board members, investors. But he ignores them all and texts just one person, two. Mom, I'm with Nia. She just had our daughter. We're okay. I'll explain everything. I love you. His mother's response is immediate. Bring them home. Adrian stares at those 3 words. Home. Where is home now? Not the penthouse. Not the office. Maybe home is wherever his daughter is. Maybe it's been that way all along, and he's just been too stupid to see it. At the hospital, 2 hours later, Nia is admitted for observation. Grace is healthy. 7 pounds, 6 ounces, with lungs that work perfectly and her mother's eyes. The nurses fuss over her, amazed by the story of her dramatic entrance. Adrian stands in the corner of the room, uncertain of his place. He's called a lawyer, arranged for Nia's apartment to be checked, ensured her car is towed to safety. All the practical things he's good at. What he's not good at is knowing whether he's welcome to stay. A nurse mistakes him for a typical anxious father. You can hold her, Dad. She's yours too. Nia could correct her, could say he's not really involved, not really family, not really anything but the man who happened to be there. Instead, she says quietly, It's okay, Adrian. You can hold her. He approaches like he's approaching something holy. Nia transfers Grace into his arms, showing him how to support her head. His hands dwarf the baby, these hands that signed contracts worth millions. That typed code that changed industries, that erased her from history. Now they cradle the most fragile thing either of them has ever created. The moment Grace settles against his chest, Adrian breaks. Not pretty crying full-body sobs that shake his shoulders and make the nurses exchange concerned glances. He holds his daughter and cries for everything he threw away, everything he almost missed, everything he might never be able to fix. "I'm sorry," he chokes out. "Nia, I'm so sorry. For all of it. For everything." "I know," she says softly, "but sorry doesn't erase the patents. Sorry doesn't give me back the years I spent invisible. Tell me what to do. Tell me how to fix this." She's quiet for a long moment, watching him hold their daughter. "I don't know if you can fix it, Adrian, but you can start by telling the truth." "What truth?" "All of it, publicly. Not some carefully worded press release, the real story. Who built what? Who sacrificed what? Who got erased and why?" Adrian's jaw tightens. "The board will fight me. Investors might pull out, stock will tank." "I know. I could lose the company. I know that too." Nia's eyes are hard. "The question is, what matters more? Your empire or your integrity?" He looks down at Grace, who's gripping his finger with surprising strength for someone only hours old. "Her," he says finally. "She matters more. You both do." "Then prove it." What neither of them knows, Adrian's assistant, Priya, saw his text about the baby, saw the hospital location. And because she's not just an assistant, but a woman who's watched Adrian self-destruct for 2 years, who's fielded his 2 a.m. emails about Nia, who's seen the person he used to be versus the person he became, she made a decision. She called a local news station covering the wildfire evacuations. "I have a story," she said, "about Lockshield CEO Adrian Locke delivering his ex-wife's baby during the Sacramento fires. They're at Mercy General Hospital. I think people should see what real courage looks like." She also called someone else, a tech journalist named Sarah Chen, who's been investigating Lockshield's founding story for months. Sarah's been trying to verify rumors about a missing co-founder, about patent irregularities, about a brilliant woman who disappeared from the narrative. Priya sends Sarah everything. The old company emails showing Nia's contributions, the original patent applications with dual authorship, board meeting notes discussing narrative simplification, all the things she's quietly saved over the years, waiting for the right moment. "He needs to face this," Priya tells Sarah, "and she deserves her story told." By morning, the world is watching. The next day, the hospital footage shows Adrian and Nia being loaded into the ambulance, shows him holding their baby with tears streaming down his face. The local news runs it as a feel-good wildfire survival story. Headlines: Tech CEO delivers ex-wife's baby in heroic wildfire rescue. Love in the time of fire. Adrian Locke's dramatic redemption. Lockshield founder becomes unexpected hero during Sacramento evacuation. The internet eats it up. The video goes viral. Adrian's Twitter gains 200,000 followers overnight. Everyone loves a redemption story. But then Sarah Chen publishes her article, "Who Really Built Lockshield? The Woman Erased from Cybersecurity History." The article is devastating in its thoroughness. Time-stamped code commits showing Nia authored the core fraud detection engine emails where she solved critical problems Adrian couldn't. The Chicago retail crisis, how she flew out alone and saved a multi-million-dollar contract, the patent filing showing her name removed between draft and final submission. Sarah writes, "While Adrian Locke posed for Forbes covers and collected awards, Nia Carter was building the actual future of fraud detection. Her name belongs on every patent. Her equity stake should reflect her contributions. And her story deserves to be told, not as a footnote, but as the foundation." The article includes an interview with 3 former employees who remember Nia. "She was the genius," one says. "Adrian was the showman." Within hours, the narrative flips. Twitter explodes. "So he's not a hero. He's just a thief with good timing?" Imagine erasing your wife from her own work, then acting like delivering her baby makes you a hero. Adrian Locke is a fraud. Nia Carter built Lockshield. Hashtag credit where credit. Do tech forums dissect every claim? The evidence is damning. Investors start asking questions. Lockshield's stock dips 8% by market close. Board members blow up Adrian's phone. His lawyer advises him to deny everything, threatens Sarah with defamation. Bury Nia with NDAs and settlements. Adrian reads the article 3 times in the hospital cafeteria. Every word is true. He walks back to Nia's room. She's sleeping, Grace in the bassinet beside her. Both of them perfect. Both of them innocent of the storm he created. He sits down and waits for her to wake up. When she does, he says, "I read the article." Nia's eyes go sharp. "And? It's true, all of it." He pulls out his phone. "I need to make a statement, right now, before the lawyers spin it, before the board tries to bury it. They'll destroy you. Let them." "Adrian, no." His voice is firm. "You were right. Grace deserves better than a father who built his empire on lies. So does the industry. So do you." He stands up. "I'm going to tell the truth, all of it. And whatever happens after, that's what I deserve." Nia studies him for a long moment. "Do it here." "What?" "Record the statement here in this room, with me and Grace visible." She adjusts her hospital gown. "If you're going to tell the truth, tell the whole truth, not some polished PR video, the real story." Adrian swallows hard. "Are you sure?" "No, but do it anyway." Adrian sets up his phone on a chair. The frame shows him sitting beside Nia's hospital bed, Grace sleeping in her mother's arms. No makeup, no professional lighting, just exhaustion and honesty and the baby that brought them back together. He hits record. "My name is Adrian Locke, CEO of Locke Shield, and I need to tell you the truth." His voice is steady, but his hands shake. "Everything you've read about me being a visionary, a genius, a singular founder, most of it is a lie." He doesn't look at the camera. He looks at Nia. Locke Shield was built by 2 people, me and Nia Carter. We met 6 years ago at Georgia Tech. We fell in love, we got married, and we built a fraud detection system together. Emphasis on together. He takes a breath. "But as the company grew, I let something ugly take over. The board pushed a solo founder narrative, said investors preferred it, and instead of fighting back, instead of protecting my wife and partner, I went along with it. I let them remove her name from patents. I let press articles crown me the sole genius. I stood on stages and accepted awards for algorithms she wrote." His voice cracks. "I told myself it was strategy, that it was necessary for growth, for funding, for success. But the truth, I was jealous. Jealous that she was smarter than me. Jealous that people who met us both always came away more impressed with her. So when I got the chance to be the singular visionary, I took it and I erased the woman who made it all possible." Nia's hand tightens on Grace. She didn't know he was going this far. "Yesterday, during the Sacramento wildfires, Nia went into labor. I happened to be in the same evacuation zone. And I delivered our daughter, a daughter I didn't know existed, because Nia left me 2 years ago when she discovered the betrayal she left when she was pregnant, because she knew I'd already chosen my empire over her." He wipes his eyes. "Some of you have seen the hospital footage. You've called me a hero. But I'm not a hero. I'm a man who got one chance to do the right thing after years of doing the wrong thing. And even that, even being there for Grace's birth, only happened because of a wildfire, because of dumb luck." He finally looks at the camera. "Nia Carter built the core fraud detection engine that made Locke Shield possible. She saved our first major contract. She deferred her salary so we could make payroll. She sold her mother's locket to buy better servers. And I repaid her by erasing her from history." His jaw sets. "Effective immediately, I'm instructing our legal team to correct every patent filing to list Nia as co-creator. I'm issuing her retroactive founder's equity, significant equity that reflects her actual contributions. And I'm establishing the Nia Carter Fund for Women in Cybersecurity, seeded with $50 million from my personal holdings. The board is going to lose their minds. This doesn't fix what I broke. It doesn't erase 2 years of her being invisible while I soaked up unearned glory. But it's a start, and to everyone watching, especially young founders, especially men in tech, learn from my failure. Gratitude isn't weakness. Sharing credit isn't diminishment. And if you can't acknowledge the people who built your success, you don't deserve it." He pauses, voice dropping. "Nia, if you're watching, which I know you are because you're literally 3 feet away, I'm not asking for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. I'm just asking for the chance to be better. For grace. For the truth. For the man I should have been all along. He reaches over and turns off the camera. The room is silent. Grace makes a small sound in her sleep. Well, Nia finally says, that was honest? Was it enough? No. She meets his eyes. But it's a start. If you could say one sentence to your ex who wronged you, what would it be? 3 weeks later, Adrian's video has been viewed 47 million times. It spawned 1,000 think pieces, launched a movement in tech about founder credit, and destroyed his reputation among the people who used to worship him. It also cost him everything. The board demanded his resignation. When he refused, 6 of 9 members walked. Stock plummeted 31% in the first week. 3 major investors threatened to pull funding. His lawyer quit, saying Adrian was committing professional suicide. But then something unexpected happened. Customers started speaking up. Small businesses, LockShield's original target market, praised the honesty. New clients signed on specifically because of the statement, "We want to work with companies that tell the truth," one CEO told Bloomberg. Universities started using the video in ethics classes. This is what accountability looks like, professors said. Women in tech created a hashtag, #credit her work. They started documenting their own stories of erasure, demanding recognition, refusing to stay silent. The stock stabilized, not where it was, but stable. And Nia? Nia's phone hasn't stopped ringing since the article dropped. Job offers from every major tech company, Stanford offering her a tenure-track professorship. Venture capitalists wanting to fund whatever she builds next. Her story became legendary, not as Adrian's ex-wife, but as the brilliant architect whose work changed cybersecurity. She's sitting in her Sacramento apartment, the modest 2-bedroom that suddenly feels too small, when Maya FaceTimes from Atlanta. Girl, have you seen the offers? Google wants you. Microsoft wants you. Hell, the Pentagon reached out. I know. So what are you going to do? Nia looks at Grace, asleep in her bassinet, tiny fist curled near her face. I don't know yet. Everything feels too fast. You deserve fast. You deserve all of it. Maybe. But what I deserve and what's good for her, those might be different things. Maya's quiet for a moment. How's Adrian? Persistent. Nia stands, walking to the window. He comes by every day, brings diapers, food, baby clothes. Never stays long, never asks for more than I'm willing to give. Is he different? Yeah. He looks like he aged 5 years in 3 weeks. His assistant says the board situation is a nightmare. Half his investor friends won't return his calls. She pauses, but he shows up anyway. For Grace. Not for me. He's careful about that. Just for her. Do you believe him? That he's changed? Nia watches the Sacramento skyline, the city where she rebuilt her life, where she almost died, where everything changed. I don't know. I want to, but wanting isn't the same as trusting. The penthouse felt like a mausoleum. Adrian stopped sleeping in the bedroom. Too many memories of Nia, of the life they had before he destroyed it. Instead, he sleeps on the couch in his office, when he sleeps at all. His mother visits from Portland. She's 68, silver-haired, and has never been one for subtlety. You look terrible, she says, standing in his kitchen. Thanks, Mom. Have you eaten today? I don't remember. She makes him eggs and toast, forces him to sit at the table like he's 12 years old. He eats mechanically while she watches with sharp eyes. You're in love with her, his mother says. Not a question. Adrian sets down his fork. I never stopped. Then why? Because I was an idiot. Because success poisoned me. Because I thought I had to be singular to be special. He pushes the plate away, and by the time I realized what I'd lost, it was too late. His mother reaches across the table and grips his hand. It's never too late to do the right thing. I think sometimes it is, Mom. No, sometimes you just don't get the ending you wanted. But that doesn't mean you stop trying to be better. She squeezes harder. You made a mess, Adrian. A catastrophic mess. But you're cleaning it up the right way. With honesty, with sacrifice, with action. That matters. Does it? Nia barely looks at me. Grace doesn't know me. The company is imploding. The company deserved to implode. It was built on a lie. Her voice softens. But Grace Grace deserves a father who shows up, who tells the truth, who proves through years, not weeks, not months, but years, that he's changed. Can you do that? Adrian thinks about the warehouse, about Grace's first cry, about the way Naya looked at him with exhaustion and fury and something that might have been hope. Yes, he says quietly, I can do that. Then stop feeling sorry for yourself and go be that man. 6 weeks. Post-birth. Nia takes Grace to her first pediatric appointment. Everything is perfect. Weight gain, developmental milestones, a smile that might be gas, but Nia swears is real. In the parking lot afterward, Adrian is waiting by her car. Her first instinct is anger. Are you stalking me? I texted. You didn't respond. I took a chance. He raises his hands. If you want me to leave, I'll leave right now. She should tell him to go, should protect her peace, her space, her carefully rebuilt life. But there's something different about him. He's thinner. His suit is wrinkled. Actually wrinkled, which never happened before. There are dark circles under his eyes. His watch is missing. The $80,000 Patek Philippe he used to wear like armor. He looks human. Broken real. You have 5 minutes, she says. Thank you. He takes a breath. I don't want credit for the apology. I don't want applause for doing what I should have done years ago. I just want to be in Grace's life, in whatever capacity you'll allow. I've heard this speech. I know. I keep giving it because I don't know what else to say. He pulls out an envelope. This is a custody proposal drafted by your choice of lawyer. Not mine. Yours. I've already agreed to whatever terms you set. Child support calculated at the highest legal recommendation. A college fund that's already seeded with $10 million. Health insurance, life insurance, everything. Nia takes the envelope but doesn't open it. What are you asking for? Whatever you think is right. If it's supervised visits, fine. If it's just photos, I'll take it. If it's nothing until she's older, I'll wait. His voice cracks. I'm not fighting for 50-50 custody. I'm not demanding rights I haven't earned. I'm asking, begging for the chance to know my daughter. On your terms, at your pace. Why? Because she's the best thing I've ever helped create, and because I refuse to be an absent father on top of being a terrible husband. Grace chooses that moment to wake up, blinking those huge dark eyes that are all Nia. She looks at Adrian like she's trying to place him, this man who smells familiar but isn't quite home. You want to hold her? Nia asks quietly. Adrian's expression cracks. Are you sure? 5 minutes turned into 10. Don't push your luck. He takes Grace with trembling hands, the same careful reverence from the warehouse. She doesn't cry, just studies his face with infant curiosity, one tiny hand reaching up to grab his nose. Hey, Grace, he whispers, I'm your dad, and I know I haven't earned that title yet, but I'm going to spend the rest of my life trying. I promise you that. Nia watches them, heart doing complicated things in her chest. She's not ready to forgive, might never be ready. The wounds are too deep, the betrayal too fundamental. But she's willing to let him try for Grace, not for him, not yet. Tuesday and Thursday afternoons, she says suddenly. 2 hours. Here at my apartment where I'm comfortable. You don't get to take her anywhere alone yet. Adrian's eyes go wide. Really? Don't make me regret this. I won't. I swear I won't. And Adrian? She waits until he looks at her. If you hurt her the way you hurt me, if you disappoint her, if you prioritize work over her, if you make her feel invisible, I will destroy you in ways that make that Forbes article look gentle. Understood. Understood. Good. She takes Grace back. Also, you smell like you haven't slept in days. Go home. Shower. Eat something. Grace doesn't need a father who's falling apart. Yes, ma'am. As he walks to his car, Nia calls out, Adrian. He turns. Thank you for the statement, for the equity, for telling the truth even though it cost you everything. His smile is sad and genuine. It didn't cost me everything. That happened 2 years ago when you left. This is just me finally paying the bill. 6 months later, the newly renovated Lock Shield Innovation Center occupies a converted warehouse in San Francisco's Mission District, deliberately chosen because it reminds Adrian of the computer lab where they met, where everything began. Today is the grand opening, but it's not Adrian's show. The building is officially named the Carter Center for Cybersecurity Innovation, Nia's name in steel letters above the entrance, catching the San Francisco sunlight. Her original algorithm explained in layman's terms on an interactive digital wall in the lobby. Founder portraits showing both of them. Equal sized, equal credit, finally. Nia stands in the lobby holding Grace, who's 7 months old now and fascinated by everything. Nia's wearing a navy suit that makes her feel powerful, like the version of herself she thought she'd lost, but really just misplaced for a while. Maya stands beside her, having flown in from Atlanta. How does it feel? Surreal, Nia admits, like someone's going to take it away. Nobody's taking anything from you ever again. I'll personally throw hands. The event begins. The crowd is impressive. Tech journalists, Stanford faculty, former LockShield employees, women in cybersecurity who followed Nia's story. Adrian is there, but standing in the back, deliberately out of the spotlight. The interim CEO, a woman named Patricia Chen, who actually deserves the title, gives brief opening remarks. Then she introduces Nia as the brilliant architect whose work revolutionized fraud detection and whose courage revolutionized our industry. Nia takes the microphone. The room falls silent. 6 years ago, she begins, voice steady. I was working in a computer lab at 2 a.m., surviving on Cheez-Its and student loans. Trying to build something that mattered, I met someone who shared that dream. We built it together, not just as business partners, but as people who believed in each other. She doesn't look at Adrian, but she feels him listening. What I didn't know then was how easily dreams can be stolen, how quickly contributions vanish when it's convenient, how silence becomes complicity. Her voice strengthens. I lost years to that silence, years doubting my own memory, my own value, my own truth. A few people shift uncomfortably. Adrian stands perfectly still. But here's what I learned. Your worth doesn't diminish because someone refuses to see it. The code remembers, the timestamps remember, and most importantly, you remember. She looks at Grace, who's watching her mother with rapt attention. This center isn't about revenge. It's about making sure the next young woman coding at 2 a.m. knows her name belongs on her work, that her voice matters, that she doesn't have to choose between recognition and relationships. She deserves both. Applause begins, tentative at first, then thunderous. Nia raises her hand. One more thing. To everyone here, build your empires, dream big, change the world. But never, ever, let success make you forget who helped you climb. Gratitude isn't weakness. Acknowledgement isn't diminishment. And if you can't share credit, you don't deserve any. She steps away from the microphone to a standing ovation. Afterward, there's champagne and networking. Tech journalists interview Nia about her new role. She's accepted Stanford's offer and started her own consulting firm. 3 major cybersecurity companies have already hired her. Her equity from LockShield's eventual acquisition will make her independently wealthy. She's rebuilt everything on her own terms. Adrian keeps his distance, letting her shine. But Grace, reaching from her mother's arms toward her father, has other plans. Da-da-da! Grace babbles clearly, one of her new favorite sounds. Maya laughs. Well, that timing. Nia walks over to Adrian. She wants you. He takes Grace gently, his face transforming into something soft. Hey, baby girl, you trying to steal mom's spotlight? She learned from the best, Nia says, but there's less edge than there used to be. Adrian meets her eyes. That was an incredible speech. It was true. All of it. They watch Grace grab at his tie, her whole face scrunched in concentration. Over 6 months, Adrian has shown up every Tuesday and Thursday without fail. He's learned to change diapers, make bottles, read the same board book 17 times in a row. He's never canceled, never been late, never made excuses. Slowly, glacially, Nia is learning to trust again. Not trust that he won't hurt her, but trust that he'll show up for their daughter. I'm taking the Stanford position, Nia says, moving to Palo Alto next month. Adrian's face stays carefully neutral. That's amazing. Congratulations. Grace needs stability, good schools, proximity to family. She pauses. And her father, if he's serious about being present, I'm serious. Then we'll adjust the schedule more time. Overnights eventually when she's older. Adrian's throat works. Thank you. That means... His voice cracks. Thank you. A reporter from Wired approaches, asking Nia about the cybersecurity curriculum she's developing. She excuses herself, leaving Adrian holding Grace. His mother appears beside him, looking elegant in a way that reminds him Nia isn't the only important woman he's rebuilding relationships with. You look at her like you did in the beginning, his mother observes. I'm trying to. Are you going to tell her? Tell her what? That you're still in love with her. Adrian watches Nia across the room, confident, brilliant, free, everything she should have been all along. No, he says quietly. That ship sailed, and I'm the one who sank it. So you're just going to co-parent forever? Never tell her how you feel? If that's what she needs from me? Yes. He adjusts Grace in his arms. I spent years making everything about me. My ego, my success, my narrative. Now it's about them. What they need. What makes them safe and happy. And if that means I only get to be her father and Nia's co-parent, I'll take it gratefully. His mother pats his arm. That's the smartest thing you've said in years. 9 months later. Nia is keynoting a conference in Seattle when her phone buzzes with a news alert. LockShield acquired by Cybercore Security for $5.2 billion. Adrian Locke steps down. She reads the article quickly. Adrian negotiated terms ensuring she receives her full equity share, which with corrected patent credits and founder status amounts to substantial wealth, generational wealth. But that's not the headline. The headline is Adrian's next move. He's stepping away from corporate tech entirely to launch a nonprofit focused on ethical AI development and patent protection for marginalized inventors. He's seeding it with $100 million of his own money. The Carter Locke Initiative for Ethical Innovation. Her name first. Nia calls him during a break. Did you really just walk away from LockShield? I did. Why? Because it was never really mine to keep. It was ours. And holding on to it felt like holding on to a lie. He pauses. Also, I'm tired, Nia. Tired of chasing the wrong things. I want to build something that actually matters. Something Grace can be proud of when she's old enough to understand. She's already proud of you, Nia says softly and means it. She talks about you constantly. Daddy this, daddy that. Yeah? His voice breaks slightly. Yeah, you've been showing up, Adrian, consistently for over a year now. That matters. I'm trying. I know. She takes a breath. Stanford's making my position permanent. Full professor endowed chair. I heard. That's incredible. You deserve it. There's a comfortable silence. Not romantic, not yet, but not hostile either. Adrian? Yeah. Thank you for finally telling the truth, for giving Grace a father who shows up, for... She stops, surprised by the emotion in her throat, for becoming someone I can respect again. That's all I wanted, he says quietly. Well, that and maybe someday. Don't. Right. Sorry, too far. But there's something in her chest, something that wasn't there before. Not forgiveness. That's still years away, if it comes at all. But maybe the beginning of something new. Something built on truth instead of lies. On consistent action instead of empty promises. Maybe someday. Grace's second birthday. The party is at a park in Palo Alto. Nothing fancy. Just family, close friends, and a princess-themed cake that Grace destroys with both hands while everyone laughs. Adrian shows up with a small wooden box. It's not from me, he tells Nia privately. Technically it is, but just open it. Inside is Nia's mother's locket, the one she sold for $4,500 to buy servers during LockShield's early days. Nia's hand flies to her mouth. How did you? Took me 11 months to track down the buyer, cost significantly more than $4,500 to buy it back. He smiles. But some things are priceless. Tears stream down Nia's face. She opens the locket. Inside is a new photo. Grace laughing, covered in birthday cake. Thank you, she whispers. Thank you, Adrian says, for giving me the chance to be better, for not giving up on me as Grace's father. She stops him with a look. Not romantic, not yet, but not hostile either. One day at a time, she says. One day at a time, he agrees. Grace toddles over, frosting in her hair, demanding to be picked up. They lift her together, Naya on one side, Adrian on the other, their daughter suspended between them, giggling with pure toddler joy. It's not perfect. It's not a fairy tale ending, but it's honest. It's healing. And for the first time in years, it's enough. Maya takes a photo of the three of them, framed by California sunshine. Later, Nia will look at that photo and realize something. This is what justice looks like. Not revenge, not destruction, just truth, finally acknowledged, work, finally credited, and a chance, maybe just a chance, to build something new from the ashes of what burned. The warehouse where Adrian delivered Grace was demolished after the fire. In its place, Sacramento built a memorial garden for wildfire survivors. There's a plaque with names of people who didn't make it out. Nia visits sometimes, Grace in her stroller, reading those names aloud, remembering how close they came, how one moment of crisis revealed truths that years of success had buried. She doesn't fully forgive Adrian. Maybe she never will. Betrayal that deep doesn't heal. It just scars over. But she's learned that healing isn't about erasing the past. It's about refusing to let the past erase you. Her algorithm still powers cybersecurity systems worldwide. Her name is on every patent now, every single one, corrected and recognized. Her legacy is permanent, documented, undeniable. And Grace? Grace will grow up knowing that her mother built empires, survived betrayal, and reclaimed her story. Not through revenge, but through truth. She'll know that her father made catastrophic mistakes, but spent years proving he could change. She'll learn that people are complicated, that love and hurt can coexist, that second chances must be earned through consistent action, not empty words. And maybe she'll learn that the most powerful thing you can do when someone steals your story isn't to destroy them. It's to refuse to disappear. Because in the end, the most revolutionary act Nia performed wasn't exposing Adrian's lies, or reclaiming her patents, or building a new empire. It was simply existing, brilliantly and undeniably, until the world had no choice but to see her. So what hit you hardest about Nia's story? Her patience through years of erasure, her courage to document everything, or the way she chose healing over revenge? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if this story reminded you that your worth doesn't depend on who acknowledges it, hit that subscribe button. Your comments, likes, and shares help us keep telling these stories of people who refuse to stay silent. See you in the next one.